Welcome to Sports Scope, the most influential sports talk show in the nation.
What is today, the 19th?
Stay tuned for updates and great sports content.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sports Scope. I'm your host, Robert Butler, on this Friday, 22nd day of September. Can't wait. Got a lot of really good football games on this weekend. A lot of bigger college games this particular weekend. Of course, the NFL is always big, folks. I mean, it's the NFL. It is the king here. Carlos has not came in yet, but going to break down this week's biggest games. Going to talk a little bit. Chargers, Minnesota, two teams desperately needing a win. But by the way, Chargers and the Vikings, remember, both of those teams were in the playoffs last year. Expect a big shootout up there in Minnesota. The loser, 0-3. You start really getting into the odds of not making the playoffs if you go 0-3. The Titans have went 1-4 before and got all the way to the AFC Championship game. So either way, we're going to take our first and only break, and I see that Carlos has came backstage here, so we'll both hit the ground running here in about 49 seconds here on Sports Scope. We'll see you shortly. Hello, Sports Scope followers. The program has seen tremendous growth since going 5 days a week. I just wanted to thank everybody for your cash contributions and sharing the program with friends and families. Just a reminder, if you want to contribute to the program, go to the Cash App, the cash sign, and Sports Scope. There are other ways to contribute to the program listed at the bottom of the screen. If you want to advertise on the program, go to Sports, that is Sports with an S, another S, Scope, SKOPE, at gmail.com, just like it's listed at the bottom of the screen. Thank you and enjoy the program. Righty then. Thank you, Corey. Good to see you, man. And of course, Carlos.
What up?
It looked like he got a Colorado Buffalo hat on, but I can't tell.
No, man. It's a Yankee hat.
What does it say?
Hope.
Oh, okay.
It's Hope Week. We've been hoping for the last 3 years, man.
Keep hope alive. Okay. All righty then. I don't know if it was something to do with Arkansas or what, you know.
No, man.
That's Bill Clinton's hometown, Hope, Arkansas. Just a random fact here. Good to see you, man. Great weekend this weekend in the NFL and college football. I'm working tomorrow. I got to get up at 5 a.m. But you know what? I'm recording a lot of these games. Hopefully, I won't be working as late as I was last week. Of course, we got to get into that Tennessee no-show against Florida. I wouldn't say I lost respect for Josh Heupel, but I'll say his stock is way down in the Sports Scope zone. We'll get into that a little bit later. You know how we always do, man. We got to go into the recap of the week beforehand. You seem like you were really concerned about the Nick Chubb injury. I was concerned about the Nick Chubb injury. For those of you not paying attention, Corey, if you might not watch the show any this week, the Steelers and Browns, very physical Monday night football game. A lot of cheap shots from the Steelers. Aside from the Nick Chubb play, I thought they got away with two face masks that I saw on the Deshaun Watson per se. They were very chippy. Refs looked the other way. That's why I think they looked the other way with that Deshaun Watson shoving that ref out of the way, because they knew they'd let Pittsburgh get away with practically murder that week. But first, what's your thoughts on the gruesome injury? TV didn't show it. You know, the media didn't really get into this story. But if he's anywhere on the internet, you saw the other side of that view that was gruesome with the Nick Chubb injury. You were texting me Monday night after the show, and I saw it myself. What's your thoughts, man?
Yeah, man. This is something that's not new to Nick Chubb.
Yeah.
Twice over. He's been once in college at UT. And,
yes.
Again,
or in Georgia.
Yep. And then also earlier in his NFL career, like, you know, he had an injury on his knee. Man, you know, there's only so many times he can come back from something, and he did what he had to do. And I mean, if it was me or if I was his agent or his family, I'd be like, that's it. You want to leave the game sometimes in a high, on the high, but sometimes things like this happen, and this is something that I'm sure he could come back to from, but not to play, man, not again. And it's so much controversy whether the turf is something that helps him or not. Regardless of all that jazz.
Yeah.
He's a strong person no matter what, and anybody thinks if he was to give up in the game today, it'd be something better for his benefit. And for the betterment of his health too. Like you see guys like John Elway, Dan Marino struggle to walk, and they were quarterbacks, right?
Yes.
So imagine that. Like these running backs are guys that are that run into the fray, right? They're not running away from the fray. So not to say that John Elway and Dan Marino never ran through it. I'm just saying that wasn't their position, right? So and like
right.
I don't know.
We remember the famous John Elway helicopter play in the Super Bowl, trying to get his first ring. I was a Denver fan that night. I wanted Marino, who went to 3 Super Bowls in the 80s and got his teeth kicked in with Dan Reeves and that team there. But in 98 with Terrell Davis and plus 97, 98, and then 98, 99, excuse me. He has Terrell Davis, Mike Shanahan, good running game. It's under a salary cap and gets those 2 rings. But yeah, he got hit sideways and still scored on that against the Packers.
Even the Oilers' great running back. You've heard stories of him and how days he can't even get out of bed.
Now, who is this you're talking about?
Why did I just said in
Terrell Davis?
No, the Oilers running back.
Oh
my gosh.
Earl. Whatchamacallit there?
Yeah.
Earl Campbell.
Earl Campbell. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and he wasn't even 55 and he was talking about he couldn't get out of bed. Like,
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and for us, that's coming up, right? Think about that.
Man.
You
so to the audience, a little inside information. I'm young in spirit, okay?
Right.
I read stories. See, I'm going to make it late in life because I come from the gutter. I come from the other side of the tracks. I haven't learned everything in my life the hard way. So for me to be successful like I want to be successful, I'm going to be probably like Rodney Dangerfield. I get no respect. Dangerfield didn't make it to his 50s, Carlos. I'm going to be like your man Pacino. He's got this 29-year-old girlfriend at 83 years old. So Carlos is up there telling this waitress who's being flirty with us, we're old enough to be your dad. And she turns out to be like 29 years old. And I said, I couldn't have no kids at 14. You're old enough to be her dad, Carlos. I'm not old enough to be her dad. And she was totally professional after that. I went home irritated with Carlos, but it was a great meal, though, up there in, God, I can't remember where we ate at now.
Outback.
What was the name of it? Oh, Outback. Yeah, it was Outback up there.
No rules, man. No rules.
Just right. I like that. That's pretty good.
So,
B.O.B. Baby on board. By the way, if anybody still hasn't seen the second Top Gun, I thought it was going to be overrated. Very funny. The Top Gun Maverick's good thing. Okay, not to get too far ahead of myself. Going back to what you said about college, Nick Chubb was a mother bleeper in college, folks. He is one tough son of a gun, okay? He, like you just said, Nick Chubb got hurt in college, folks. But I'm looking at the 2018 draft, okay? Nick Chubb fell to the second round, not because he was the best player. Guys like Rashawn Penny was drafted ahead of him. His, Carlos, you may remember this, his teammate, Sony Michel, already out of the league, by the way, just retired, fellow running back at University of Georgia, went 31st to the New England Patriots. He goes to the second round to the Cleveland Browns. This guy is relentless. He is one relentless dude. To say that he's done with modern technology, I don't know if he is or not, but I'm like you. If you've seen the injury, it's a gruesome injury. This is not an ACL. this is a, I had, Jeremy Ballrich on, and he said something about ligaments and something about blood vessels and stuff like that. There could be there was talk of amputation. Those talks have calmed down. I think he's going to be okay as far as getting his freaking leg amputated. That sounds like Alex Smith stuff. Remember Alex Smith? There was talks of him having his leg amputated. Smith wanted to come back just to prove he can come back, and then he retired.
Well, I mean, with Smith in the injury, I'm not going to say he was lucky, but in the end, he had a different injury where he got the staph infection. That was the most dangerous part about his leg injury. Listen, I mean, these are guys, they're heroes to us because they play on the gridiron, but they're still human. And we gotta, if he walks away from the game because he should do it. Because he don't have to prove nothing to anybody, man. He's, he was Mr. Consistent for the last 5 seasons. He's probably one of the best running backs that we will ever see in our lifetime. As far as,
he might be top 10, the top 20 all time. Now he's only played in the league 5 years.
At least in our generation,
in his era.
In his era, yeah.
He's probably number 2 right now before this injury. Let me tell you something else about that. I was reading this week, and Mike Florio, me and him, he's watched Sports Scope before. He would never say it, but on the Periscope app, I used to know who watched my show. Okay. He's the creator of Pro Football Talk NBC, and he had an interesting article this week, and a lot of your old school guys, your Jason Whitlocks, ain't going to like this. But he's saying since the quarterbacks don't have hitting below, it's illegal to hit a quarterback at the knees. Should it be waistline tackling only for running backs? You have to teach that stuff at a young age. I know it'd be hard to take down a Derrick Henry at that stage. What do you think about that?
Mika Fitzpatrick went in for the tackle, but he got hit in the helmet too. Like he was sort of hurt. So it wasn't something that was like,
yes, he hurt his chest. Yeah, Mika.
Yeah, so it wasn't something that he was planning to, the hit to take him out. It was just the way that it ended up happening, right? Because you have to understand a runner like Chubb, man, he's not going to not try to turn and not trying to, break off on a dime either. So, that was his calling card, right? He was able to stay up, take one hit or two, and keep going. And for his height and for his weight, he's pretty dang consistent, man. And it's just a shame that they couldn't build a game or like arsenal around him to get some points in the air because he did his job, man, and he did it well. And unfortunately, running backs not getting paid in today's day the way they should. And if anybody should have got any kind of money besides Saquon, which I'm not saying that he's not worth it or has value, it should have been Nick Chubb, someone like Nick Chubb.
Yeah, and he was in the middle of his second contract now. Mm-hmm. I said this earlier this week, and I brought this up to Jeremy Ballrich the other day. I didn't talk about it with Keith because we got so much into the college game. Mm-hmm. But I think that what's the guy's name? The owner there, Mr. Haslam, that owns the Cleveland Browns. Chubb has got a year left on his contract. Just pay all his guarantees and his non-guarantees. I mean, something like this. It happened on Monday Night Football. It'll look good public relation-wise and it'll look good. It'll send a good message to the team. It's good for free agency. It's not that much money to a billionaire. It's not going to kill the team's financial cap there. Just pay his non-guarantees and his guarantees for this year and next year, and help him out with the next opportunity if he wants something to do with maybe Georgia or maybe the Cleveland Browns. The guy's that kind of worker. I didn't watch the Browns for years, but when they got Chubb, even when Mayfield was inconsistent, a lot of fantasy players watch that team. That helps their brand. So there's a lot of ways to look at this. I mean, it was that kind of gruesome injury. What are your thoughts though on other possible situation, outlawing knee hits, low hits to players' knees?
To first comment on what you said, like I'm not sure, and a lot of us don't know his contractual agreement and what the underwriting is. So he might still get guarantees because of the injury.
Yeah.
And if anything, if I'm Haslam, I supplement that just out of the gracious of for who and what Nick Chubb has done for the Browns.
Yeah.
I mean, and because the situation is so delicate with the NFLPA and how they handled guys who've been injured in the past.
Yeah.
That's also kind of like a slippery slope. So, you do good by the people who did good for you. And so if Haslam doesn't do that, that's on him. I mean, because Chubb has done his thing. As far as the outlawing of low hits, I mean, to what point can the NFL protect players? And there's a lot of things that they can do besides just.
Because then you would have to outlaw hurdling, right? And hurdling's dangerous anyways.
Right. And the other day we saw a wide receiver just jump up straight in the air, right? After he caught it. So he didn't get hit. And
your purist would kill me and you for even bringing this up. Mac would hate this.
I'm not, the game still has to have some kind of it still has to be some kind of, I don't want to say it's a tradition, but it still has to have some kind of realism
physicality.
In it, and physicality. Yeah. So, look, man, a lot of people don't make it to NFL or don't want to play in the NFL for these type of reasons. So, it's a choice that these guys make. A lot of it's written in contractual for them. Anyways, there's some underwriting that protects them a little bit. Guys take out insurance on their knees and on their contracts. So, I mean, to each his own at the end. Make the guy who's on the field make the decisions, and that's about the best I can say for that.
Let me ask you this, and the reason why I say this, I mean, we go through emotions and stuff. I'm a human being. I mean, it was a rough watching DeMar Hamlin go through that last year. I know a lot of moms watch this stuff, and I thought to myself, watching that injury, man, I just thought about, man, it's 2023, and we're still playing this barbaric gladiator sport here, where people are getting permanently injured all the time. Natural aches. I mean, what the heck are we doing? Why do we even play this sport? And then, of course, I woke up the next day, had more perspective. Like I said, more people to come from the side of tracks that I come from, want that money to start their business, don't want to work for anybody, and willing to take a chance like that. But then you kind of think about people kind of had that nauseous feeling Monday night, the ones that saw that on the internet and thinking, why are we playing this barbaric game this day and age? This is crazy. This is 2023. Do you think that kind of vibe was in the air Monday?
There's always those people who are fringe fans, right?
Okay.
They're fans because it's a home team, not because they there's fans that are like, people who follow players, and there's fans of people who like football, right? So, all those different types of mentalities are going to have their own opinion about what's going on. The reality of the truth and the reality of sport of any kind right now in the major league level, so you can get hurt in practice, right? Then then Diggs just tear his ACL.
Yeah, towards ACL, and that was a non-contract injury.
Yeah. And Edwin Diaz of the New York Mets was hopping up and down and messed up his knee.
Oh man!
And everybody suspect that he was already fragile a little bit, which didn't help. So, there's speculation about that. But we live in a world where, and we live in a country where we could choose to try to live out a dream, and we could try to get to that level of NFL.
Yeah.
There's a lot of players, man. A lot of players in college will never sniff an NFL team or practice squad or even opportunity.
Yeah.
So, and there's a lot of people that unfortunately can replace anybody that's starting right now in NFL. Will they do the best and greatest job? That's neither here nor there. That will, we'll see if it happens and when it happens. But it's it's a choice, man, and people have a right to make a choice if that's the kind of
all right to choose.
And the media's messed up about it, right? Because the
NFL versus Wade, Roe v. Wade.
I'm not sure
just messing with you, man. Of course.
with as much
I
relation
got jokes.
with the much relationship you have with Mike Florio and all those guys at the top, and you're trying to get there. We're not trying to stir up controversy. We just talk about what's real, and at the end of the day,
I think
there's so many things in life. You can get hurt in a bike accident riding your bike. You can get hurt.
You can get hurt in baseball. Those things are 90 miles and 110 miles an hour.
What I'm saying is the probability of getting hurt might be higher because you're playing this type of sport.
Yeah.
But the reality is you can get hurt doing anything else. And it's not
the old adage though. It's the combination of that many car crashes every time the ball snapped, particularly for offensive linemen and defensive linemen.
Yeah, but what do you say about the guys who had long, lengthy careers and yeah, they had bruises and maybe
like Jim is okay.
And they're all right. But it doesn't. Everybody has to do what they have to do to preserve their health, their mind, and their body when you play any type of sport. And if you play in a sport that's as physical as football, soccer, whatever, rugby, whatever, Australian football, whatever it is that you choose to do with your body, and you don't take care of yourself because you're putting your body through the biggest challenge, to get to be at the highest level.
Yeah, that's true. And you're right. Rugby don't even have pads, man. You just pop each other. That's like pick up smear, back in my neighborhood.
And that's a choice, right? So and again, not everybody gets to this level. Not everybody gets to that level,
Yeah.
So,
and the people that dirt poor grew up and they don't want to be a doctor, lawyer, or like Ted Turner would say, an Indian chief or anything like that. They want to try to play. They want to take their chance and make that 1% in football and own their own business. Coming from that working class upbringing, after I slept on it, I let my emotions set aside and say, it is what it is. I know it's barbaric at times.
And we're mean about it too, right? We're so mean about why is he getting 10 mil a year? All he does is play a kid's game. Yeah, my man, but you didn't get, you're not playing that kid's game. And if you can't step up to the challenge,
you're sore all the time. And you're right. Ricky Waters says he regrets sometimes playing football because of his the former running back for the 49ers. Yeah.
I mean, you have guys like what is this guy? Barry Sanders, Tiki Barber, whatchamacallit from the Lions, the wide receiver.
Herman Moore?
No. The other guy,
Calvin Johnson.
You got a lot of guys who retired early and just was like, risk reward.
Yeah, Patrick Willis, linebacker, retired early from the 49ers,
There's some guys out there that just,
I think that would be a good idea. A lot of people don't agree with me. I think that tackle football shouldn't be allowed until high school age at 14, 15, whatever. And typically you would encourage guys, non-quarterbacks, to retire at around 30. That's ideal if you make it to the NFL. This Pee-wee stuff, I don't know about all that, man.
Yeah, I'm more of a proponent of. I'm a type of guy that, and my dad was like this. He's like, if you're gonna play one sport, you better learn how to play a lot of sports. You got to learn from all of them and take a little bit of everything. And
that's true.
And learn how to protect yourself, learn how to fall, learn how to jump. So I played basketball, I played football, I played baseball. I played soccer. I played. I ran cross country. I took dance lessons or just to try to get my feet and to be able to move my feet.
He was inspired by that guy in American Pie, taking and dance and sing. No, I'm kidding.
So that was my dad. Now he wasn't like an athlete, but he just put in my head. Even my grandfather was like, yo, you can't just play one sport. You should play all of it just to learn and see. And playing all those sports helped me like kind of even be better at the positions that I played when I played.
Well, that's been the old adage. That's another reason why a lot of injuries are occurring, because there's too much concentration for the youth in one sport.
Right.
When we were growing up, you played baseball, then football, basketball. You had and you got different. You're working different muscles, and you're not wearing one muscle out or whatever. And I think there's got to be some truth to that.
Yeah, and I feel like when we play different sports, and even if it's not on a high level, but you try it, if I didn't play basketball, when I played soccer and I went up for those headers, I had better positioning for my body to go to get headers. I protected myself better because I didn't jump straight up. When you're not used to jumping up and over, like in basketball, like trying to make layups, and in soccer, you should do that same move. But a lot of kids just jump straight up. And when you jump straight up and somebody runs into you, guess what? You're gonna get knocked down. I usually would be a little bit more stronger jumping in because I knew how to jump, and I would use like a layup type of jump to go to headers. So I had a different form of going there, and it makes you.
Who was you trying to emulate? Pele?
I just try and get everybody. When you play like in midfield and forward, you just want to score, bro. You just want to.
Let's move on, man. I spent too much time on that. Okay. Okay. How about Tennessee and the LA Chargers there? What a win there. I thought, you know what? Towards the end there, I thought, man, maybe the Chargers are going to beat up on Tennessee. And Chargers can't finish games. We both picked the Charger or Tennessee to win that game because of Brandon Staley. What's your thoughts on that game?
What I say to you, Tennessee fans don't understand what you got there as a consistent team, a good coach. The only bad runt you got there is Tannehill, but if he has a good game mentally, you guys will be all right. And and all really Tannehill has to do is give the ball to the best running back in the NFL.
Yeah,
and I don't understand. Still, I can't fathom the idea why that's not happening.
Well, they do get him the ball on the flat more.
Yeah, but and
they're going to have to Sunday, by the way, because Sonorski's got some kind of appendix problem. He's out again.
Right, man. Look, it don't matter what problems these guys have. Give the ball to Henry. Tannehill run straight instead of sideways, and you'll get those little. Like I try to tell people, just get those small little yards. Keep yourself in the game. Let your defense rest because your defense is the one that needs more time, more rest, so they can do what they're supposed to do. If these guys keep being on the field, they're not going to have any speed to bull rush.
What's your thoughts on the other hand? Another blown game by Brandon Staley, man.
It's not blown, man. I told you when the season started, they got nothing but a bunch of names on the roster. Their whole wide receiving crew have peaked or about to peak, right? They got guys there that can't stay on the field. So if they don't practice, so they can go play on the field. Yeah, and it's not good. It's not as the names might sound good on paper. Let me tell you something, and I'm gonna sound funny, but Keith is right. Keith Engel's right from TGI Sports. He's like, if these guys don't practice, they're not gonna be good in the game. And these guys who are older, who are coming back from injuries or got leg problems and calf problems and muscle problems, and they're not going to practice, but they play in the games, they're not gonna help you. And because it's about timing, and you got one of the best youngest arms in the NFL, and you can't get on the same page with him because you're not on the field with him when it's time to practice.
Yeah, and Chad says his bad for calling you Mike last week. Yeah, Chad, something, my elbows still bother me for some kid putting his helmet on my left elbow. Some fullback wouldn't keep his head up, and it still bothers me to this day. So you're right about that, guys. As far as this Charger team,
and Eckler didn't play. Mind you, Eckler didn't play, right?
Eckler's out again this week now.
Right, and I told you that, and I said specifically, if that man is not on the field, the Chargers roster looks even worse because he's that one guy. He's the one guy that kind of gets everybody on energized, trying to score points, right? Yeah. So,
Well, they got to the playoffs last year.
Yeah, so did the Bills.
And Tennessee did not get to the playoffs. And Tennessee was, by the way, nobody mentioned this, and I didn't even catch it. Tennessee snapped an 8-game losing streak. Do you think they're going to put together a winning streak now?
Look, what I think about Tennessee is
going back to last year.
Yeah, is that the games that they lost, the 8 games that they lost, were 8 games that they gave up on in the last 5 minutes, 10 minutes of games, which is why people didn't realize they were in an 8-game losing streak anyways. They gave more games away than they won because they couldn't finish.
They had control of both of them Jacksonville games, and just foolish turnovers at the end cost them those games. In that Charger game, they had a shot to win that game. Remember, Tannehill got hurt in that game.
And let me say, I sound like Keith.
Chad says he hopes Tannehill can run can run or get rid of the ball this weekend. Well, he's not going to have Sonorski, and this is a very good defensive line they're going against this weekend.
Look, I sound like Keith when he talks about the Giants to me, and I'm just like, the Giants are terrible. But
is he a big Giants fan?
No, but he's like, why don't you sticking up for your team? And I'm like, I don't have to stick up for somebody I don't believe in. I don't believe in them now. It's not that I don't.
It's
like
called
them.
balls and strikes.
I can't be that guy. You with me when I'm down and you with me when I'm up. I'm with you all the time.
You're not Jamie Pags.
No, Jamie. You know what?
Really,
props to Jamie though, because Eagles been good for the last 2 seasons. So,
let's go Birds. Yeah,
Fine.
I got to bring Jamie back on. Okay, that's a good transition. We'll go back to recap here in just a second. But since we're talking about the Titans, let's knock out a couple birds in one stone. They're 3.5-point underdogs going to Cleveland. Now, Cleveland, we just talked about Cleveland. Rough Monday night game. Pittsburgh put a knot on their head, but I felt like, and Deshaun Watson, he's making me look bad, man. He's not playing up to his contract. I think he bounces back, though.
Yeah.
Jerome Ford's not a bad fill-in there. They do have some injury on their secondary. Newsom is going to be out. But I tell you what, folks, I'm not a Kool-Aid drinker. I actually like Cleveland, who's favored 3.5 points to win this week. What is your thoughts about Tennessee at Cleveland on Sunday? Big game.
I think it's a trap game for Tennessee.
Okay.
And but
how could it be a trap game? They're underdogs.
Because
that's usually a game before you play a big game.
Because here's the thing. Like you said, Watson didn't perform well. So usually if he comes back, usually when someone like Watson comes back, he has a big game the next day. Here's the thing. If they can score 17 points or more, if the Tennessee defense gives up those points, Cleveland win that game. But they have to score more than 17 points. I'm talking about touchdowns, and I'm not talking about no field goals. I'm talking like they got to score about 21 points.
I think it feels like a 24-20 Browns game.
Those
and
3 points are crucial. It's the kicking game is going to be crucial on this one, right?
Now you got me thinking about the over and under now, Chief.
I just think it's too close.
No, you're probably right. That's about right. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking if they get on the board, and I don't know, man. You guys in Tennessee don't. I'm not sure y'all like your defense or not, but that defense is
they're very good up front.
It's steady Eddie, man.
And plus, you have a guy. They have one right tackle that's out that used to play for Tennessee, Talkling. Remember Talkling?
Yeah. Who on the Browns offense scares you if there's no Chubb?
Well, I mean, you got Amari Cooper. You got
Amari Cooper scares you? Amari Cooper was on the Titans, and you guys wanted to burn his helmet.
He was not on the Titans. He played for Dallas.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, my bad. Yeah,
man, you're thinking about Corey Davis.
No, I'm thinking about the other guy. What's his name? The other
Kevin Dyson.
Huh? No, Alabama. I'm not thinking about Cooper.
Oh, AJ Brown.
No, the other Alabama guy who played for Falcons. My bad.
Oh, Calvin Ridley. Believe it or not,
the other one.
You're killing me, Smalls.
I can't remember his name.
Now Chad's gonna give you hassle for name recognition.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I've had a long week, man. So
yeah. Well, there's a lot of marijuana being smoked in New York City, and you may have got a contact.
I'm gonna tell you something about that. For the first time, I took my son real quick. Go
ahead.
To a wrestling match at Arthur Ashe Stadium, AEW.
Nice.
And it was nice. It was a good little thing. It was the first time he's ever seen wrestling. They were.
It strikes me as funny. You're making me think about. You're making me think. Is it Julio Jones?
Yeah. Julio.
Yeah. Thank you, Chad.
Yeah. They were smoking free there. So
no, was this WWE?
No, AEW.
Oh, I've never even heard of that one.
AEW, yeah. All the wrestling fans, they know what I'm talking about.
Well, that guy I go to church with, dude's 50 years old and watches wrestling. I told him, I said, listen, you're single. Don't be telling women that, man. They'll think something wrong with you.
No. Well, hey, listen, guys.
I stopped watching. I was about 9.
And you guys know who you
but
are.
I know who The Rock is.
Yeah. You guys know who you are. If you guys are single at an older age, don't be telling girls don't be talking to women about wrestling.
Not unless you're a wrestler yourself.
The card games you play, they don't want to hear that.
Yeah, Donnie, Corey. Corey knows Donnie. We've had conversations. Oh, God, I totally lost track of thought. Yeah. Okay.
Anyway,
I'm picking Cleveland to beat Tennessee. Guys, I'm sorry. I don't drink the Kool-Aid. I'm just calling balls and strikes. If Tennessee wins, that's great. I'll have a great week at work.
Right.
But I'm calling for the Browns, probably 24-20.
Right now, I'm skeptical about the Browns offense. Because there's no consistency in running and Chubb. So, and you can put someone fast like Ward.
That Ford guy's good too, though.
He's all right, man. I just think I don't understand, and I'm not gonna call you out, bro. But
go ahead.
These Tennessee fans, man. You guys have a good defense. You have a good defense. So, your defense.
You can make a case for Tennessee winning this game.
I think they will, and I think and this is what will happen, and I think that it would happen. I think that Watson's going to throw an interception, a pick 6, right?
Right.
And I think Tennessee will grind it out, and it'll probably be a close game, right? 24-21. But I think it might be Tennessee.
But you're afraid to actually pick up. I mean, you're up 2-0, by the way.
Yeah, I'll pick Tennessee on this one. I'll pick them.
So you're picking Tennessee. So you may be up.
I like Watson coming back and having a good game. And if you guys are fantasy owners, you could check mark Watson as getting you more than 12 points.
So you.
I don't think it'd be
every
enough.
dog has its day.
Yeah, I don't think it'd be enough because he's going to be running more than throwing the ball because they don't have Chubb, right? So they're going to eat up all that time and possession just by him running in circles. So they're going to run more in circles than they are going to score points. And if Tennessee's smart, they just go ahead and play that defense that they usually play, right? Allow him to run in circles. And if he's going to throw the ball because he doesn't throw the ball away, he throws it in the field. You get a pick 6 or you get a fumble, the Titans will be in the game.
Yes, and here let's play a little devil's advocate. Say Tennessee wins this game, okay, and they put down this high dollar Cleveland Brown team, put them at 1-2. Then the clock starts to tick on Cleveland Sports Talk Radio on Kevin Stefanski, who I think is way too passive, going back to the Baker Mayfield days. He should have benched Baker Mayfield when he torn his labrum and put in that backup quarterback. This is before Watson trade was made for. I know he won Coach of the year before that.
So did they both.
This guy's very passive. He's got to step up and tell Watson, listen, man, you're not living up to that contract. We need you to make more throws here. You've had a whole off season with us, man. You're killing me, Smalls. That's what he's got to do. Yeah. Watson's aware of that. But Stefanski, he does not say anything with the NFL. Watson had 2 face mask penalties that were not called on him by the Steelers.
Right.
He should have stepped up. This guy comes off as Mr. Too Passive to me. What's your thoughts on Stefanski?
I think Stefanski's been on under fire and under the thumb too much because of contracts. Those high contract players messed him up. You can't bench Baker Mayfield, not because he's not playing well, but because he's a high contract player.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
And that's a part of a contract. So, he had to play him. He had to make sure he wanted to see and hope that his player matured. And it was just an awful situation. Plus, if it's true, and if it was a shoulder injury and he didn't get it fixed when he had the opportunity the first time, a season and a half ago, almost 2 seasons ago, he did get it fixed, and now he's playing better in Tampa. Is that Stefanski's fault?
Yeah.
So now the Browns did what they're supposed to do. They built the defense up. They just lost a major player in Chubb.
I think Chubb will be okay. I'm actually more concerned about Conklin than I am because this guy, James Hudson, might not play, and Greg Newsom, the cornerback. So Tennessee will have some throwing lanes to throw the ball in. It looks like Hopkins going to play, and of course Burks had a big play last week. Trayvon Burks.
So your killers are going to be on the opposite end. It's going to be Armani Cooper and who else?
Peoples-Jones, David Njoku. He's
Okay,
got some ballers now.
Yeah, so
That's
Njoku,
why they should have beat Pittsburgh, man.
Yeah, Njoku hasn't had a good game since last season.
He's due.
He's due, but you think Tennessee's going to allow Njoku to come in?
Looks like Christian Fulton will be back for the Titans, too. He's not on the injury report. Tennessee, I could talk myself into picking Tennessee, but I'm not going to do that. That's drinking that Kool-Aid that you're trying to serve me. You're trying to give me this Kool-Aid, man. I can't do it.
I'm just saying, like,
I got to cut down on my sugar, man. I try to drink water. I can't drink Kool-Aid, man.
The Browns came out roaring and scoring, and now they just kind of they're pittering already, like they ran out of gas, and it's only been 2 games.
If Tennessee beats Cleveland, man, I'm going to go in on Cleveland on Monday.
But I told you that Steelers, Tomlin and Steelers, you can't really bet against them because
the league looks the other way sometimes on those Steelers home games. I mean, I never want to be that guy.
You know what?
But how do you let 2 face masks with? This league protects the quarterbacks more than anything, man.
No, I think that the league was more worried about fans fighting in the stands at this game than they were about what was going on the field.
It really that game was intense, man.
It was crazy. It was crazy.
It was really crazy. And look, I like Tomlin's a good guy. And I don't really think people are saying. Did you think that hit was Bush League on Chubb, by the way? By Micah Fitzpatrick?
No, I just think he was trying to tackle him, but
he's trying to take his legs out because Chubb was.
Man, listen, if it's not
there's a routine tackle to me, if you ask me.
Yeah,
I see players do that all the time, throw their back and kind of trip the guy up.
Yeah. So, and another thing too is like, what do you do in that position, man? Like, look when Henry throws people forward, they don't.
That's true.
So.
Yeah, that's routine too. So we're simultaneously going from last week to this week. Okay, so last week you were right. Cincinnati beat by Baltimore. That you put 2-0. I know you think Lamar Jackson's the greatest thing since sliced bread.
No, I think he's the greatest thing since whole wheat bread. Let me tell you
wheat bread. Excuse me, I forgot whole wheat.
I told you that
white bread. I
keep telling you guys that signing of Joe Burrow is going to be the death of the roar for Cincinnati.
Cincinnati wasn't alive from the get-go.
They're going to try to claw out some wins, but I told you guys, man, that Burrow contract is going to hurt them.
See, Chad says he ain't betting on it. So Burrow, this is my thing. Don't you think that
you call him Joe Montana?
He's ceiling is still Montana. It's still Tom Brady. He's got a calf injury, and he's so good that this Zach Taylor, this coach, is so insecure. He doesn't want to bench him because he don't want to look like a bad coach with his backup in there, knowing that defense is way better prior to it. He should have benched Burrow a couple of weeks in. Did you listen to my show when I played the Rich Eisen interview the other day with Taylor?
Robert, I think you got Home Alone syndrome, man.
Home Alone. Don't get me started on Home Alone. That's one of my favorites.
He's going to beat up them robbers. He's going to get them. Joe Burrow going to get them.
That's funny. I love Home Alone.
No, I heard your speak on that.
Yeah, I think they'll probably beat the Rams. I don't think Burrow's going to play this week. Burrow's on the verge of tearing his Achilles, man. You can't mess around with a.
So why did you sign him? So why sign him?
Because he's the most winningest quarterback in the history of the franchise. He's only been there 3 years. He's won more playoff games than Boomer Esiason.
So I don't know, man.
Listen, man.
You drinking a Kool-Aid, a Tiger juice.
Oh man, I got all that Cincinnati Kool-Aid, man. Oof. Man, I got that Tiger fuel, man. I've been like your boy Charlie Sheen, man. I got that Tiger blood in me.
Tiger blood. You got that Tiger blood.
I'm telling you, man.
You should come on, Charlie up.
I don't know how that came out like that.
Yeah, let me say, look, I know some people for Charlie Sheen's camp, man. If you want to call them up, you want some Tiger blood?
Hey, man. Hey, if it's got vitamin C in it,
You gonna bring?
I may try that. I'm getting older. I may try that.
You got vitamin C, vitamin cocaine.
that testosterone stuff. So, anyways, my thing is that Burrow, he's won more playoff games than anybody in the history of the organization. We talked about his LSU record. We've talked about his record with Cincinnati. The problem is they're too dependent on him now. Well, now the whole organization's insecure about this guy.
Well, they just paid him.
They got too many freaking receivers for him. Zach Taylor don't want to bench him when he's on the verge of tearing his Achilles. Are you kidding me, Smalls?
Oh, my gosh. This kind of feels like when they signed this guy to the Raiders contract.
Jay Hostetler?
No, who was this? Not the Texans contract. David Carr.
Yeah.
This is what it feels like. This is like a David Carr situation.
Or Derek Carr, right?
His brother, the oldest Carr, the one who was the backup for the Giants.
That he used to play with Houston. He was drafted by. Okay, that is David Carr. Yeah, you're correct.
This feels like one of those situations.
Well, that is true. Listen, Burrow's all that in a cup of soup.
No.
31 teams give him that other. 30. Not Patrick Mahomes. 30 other teams give this guy that kind of money.
The Giants will do it because they just like to throw money away.
Well, the Giants, I mean, they're 1-2. That's a whole different.
And the Jets will do it. And the Jets will do it because he's so close to getting an injury. So
yeah. So you got the win there. I do like that throw that Lamar made to Nelson Aguilar. He had a good game. Kudos to Lamar Jackson. They caught some breaks. They played a Burrow-led team with the bad calf. They beat Houston, who's going to be in the lottery next year, if there was a lottery. And now they got to play the Colts, who will probably be in the lottery too because they're starting quarterbacks out, and they got them at home. But I'd rather be lucky and good any day.
Is anybody
watching to the Ravens?
Is anybody watching that game?
Yeah, I don't know, man. So let's move along here. Do you have any thoughts on Miami and New England? Tua's 5-0 against Belichick, by the way.
And why are the Pats favored in this game? Can somebody tell me?
I'm talking about last week, Miami and New England.
Oh, I was gonna say. No, we're talking about this week for the Pats. No, the two Miami. I told you that Miami was gonna.
Yeah, we both picked Miami, and I didn't mention the Jets before. I didn't mention that. I mean, this doesn't count against you. Do you think that they snapped their losing streak against the Jets? Or the Jets snapped their losing streak against New England, excuse me.
No, not at all. Not a chance. I think this game will be boring, though.
Yeah, 2.5 points. It'll probably be the under. It's like 17-14.
I think it's supposed to be sloppy, too, right? So I guess it's going to be one of those Belichick games that are sloppy, that they'll run the ball, with their linemen and have just keep running it until the clock runs out. It's going to be junk.
Right. Okay. Tennessee, Florida, man. What's your perspective? What the heck happened, man?
I think what happened was that Tennessee was up on themselves and didn't realize they had to play a game, right? They won on paper before the game even started, and that's not how you play football. And it's not.
Remember, they got up 7-6, and it's like they stopped playing after that.
Yeah, and I don't think it's a coaching thing, man. It's just like those kids down there, man. It happens, right? I think this is a consistent thing that happens in Tennessee with Tennessee players. They come off a big win, and then they just kind of, party it up, or even if they don't party, they're feeling good about themselves, and then they hit a wall, and it's usually a team like LSU or Florida, or or Alabama, and you're like, man, you could have beat them, but you just didn't, So it's just something that happens at Rocky Top, man. The air up there is thinner than we think. How about that?
Yeah, something. I thought about this game all week, man.
Why?
People work, and you got to have perspective here and not take the orange and white glasses off. I have to do that myself sometimes and realize, remember last year, Tennessee won 11 games, great team, Hendon Hooker up for the Heisman, #1 offense in the country, and how close was that Florida game at the very end? It come down to the last throw. Remember, they almost came back and won. They own Tennessee. They haven't won down there in 20 years. And Tennessee went down there, like you said, feeling themselves. In Florida, low confidence early in this game, making penalties in the red zone, missing extra point. And surely as the game went on, they gained confidence. Tennessee's stumbling bum, and that Joe Milton, no wonder Hendon Hooker beat him. No wonder he transferred from Michigan. The guy cannot play quarterback. He's a great athlete. He's not really a great athlete. He's really just got a great arm. He's not that fast. Those Florida guys are running him down. Why is he throwing the ball to the sideline every other play?
At least he was throwing the ball to the sideline. He wasn't throwing it in the middle of the field.
Overthrowing people by 30 yards. Yeah, so I read too much into the hype on him, and I apologize to the audience.
Don't apologize. Like,
man, I effed up.
Here's the thing, Robert. Do you think they'll learn from this game and get better? Do you think they're just going to fall down slowly from the top 25?
I do like Heupel, but his stock is down this week. And I will have to wait till the Alabama game to see if they recover from
I think that's the worst thing is that they still have to play Alabama.
They got Georgia later, but that's not until November.
Right, but at that point,
got Kentucky and Vanderbilt, and it was disgusting to see them play like that, man. I'm disgusted with.
Do you think they have a top-rated team in the SEC? Yes or no?
No, I would tell them, listen, man, when you lose like that to Florida, you cannot fly back. We're putting y'all on a Greyhound bus back. That's disgraceful.
Do you think that Tennessee is better than Alabama?
Right now, it's a coin flip because Alabama's having problems at the quarterback position.
This is the first time they felt.
So let's move along to these. We kind of got behind on time. To this week's games, man. I mean, speaking of this week's games, let's finish up with the NFL real quick. Minnesota. We just talked about Minnesota and the Chargers. I think the Chargers got better talent. This is played in Minnesota. Both of these teams need a win. Both of them were in the playoffs last year. Both of them have their doubters. Who do you got in that game and why?
I think that the team with I think Minnesota wins this just out of experience. And they need a win. And if they don't win, then they're gonna have struggle so much more later in the season.
And it's gonna be a really fun game.
And I think the Chargers are in trouble because they played the ownership, the GM. They played this game on paper. They're not playing it on the field, and until they figure it out, balance themselves out on offense to score the points they need to be scoring with that arsenal. If you can't score more than 21 points, what I usually say, if you don't score more than 21 points, if you're not hitting 27, you are less likely to win a football game in the NFL this year.
And okay, to your defense there, according to FanDuel, Minnesota is the favorite in this game. I'm probably going to be down 0-3, maybe 0-4. I think the Chargers are going to win this game. I think they got better players on defense. Not on the secondary side, but I do think they got a pretty good pass rush there. With this Charger team, I think there's a lot of pressure on them, even without a Eckler who won't be back again. Much better, much not as good run defense in Minnesota as a Tennessee. Tennessee's got a very good run defense. One of the best in the league, by the way.
Minnesota's one of those teams that can score. They score fast.
Yes, it'll be a fun game. I can't wait to see it.
They might not be winning games like left to right, but they do keep themselves in the game. They score fast. They average in more than 21 points a game, and they can sneak this win for sure.
Yeah, Yeah, let's get this running back. I think his name's Josh Kelly. Chad will be starting. Eckler is out. So it is what it is, man.
That's a top 5 running back that's not playing on the team, just like for the Giants.
Yeah. Barkley was out yesterday. So Tennessee, Cleveland, Minnesota. That's only 2 NFL games. I mean, obviously there's great games, but college, man, Notre Dame, Ohio State, man. What about that, son?
Who you got?
Well, I know I listened to you and Keith a little bit this morning. I'm with Keith. I really like this Sam Hartman guy.
Oh, come on.
Listen, 1934 is the last time Notre Dame beat Ohio State. This is before World War II took off, Chief. We're talking Newt Rockne era, and I may be even a little off there. I like this Sam Hartman kid. I like this defense of Notre Dame. I like how close they played last year. This Freeman kid, this young coach, I thought that he may screw it up, but I really like Sam Hartman. And Ohio State, I'm not in love with Ohio State this year.
Morrow's from Ohio State. Remember, he transferred to LSU.
Yeah, he was beat out by some clown that didn't make it. But I like Notre Dame to just snap that losing streak, man. Notre Dame, led by Sam Hartman in South Bend. This is in South Bend, by the way. They get the win Saturday night. What's your thoughts, man?
Yeah, I mean, Notre Dame has a great team. They got something they can hang on this year with Hartman being there as a quarterback, coming through the transfer portal. But it's a really close game anyway. It's not like they got to travel far. So traveling is not going to be an effect this week for any of those teams. I think it's going to be a close game, and Ohio State might win this. And I feel
you picking Ohio State.
Yeah, I feel like Ohio State might get.
So you like this guy? His name is Cal McCord. He's got more talent around him. He's got 6 touchdowns, 1 interception. That's Ohio State quarterback.
Yeah.
QBR of 87.2. Now he's got the best receiver in the country by a long shot. Marvin Harrison Jr. Who was it? God, what's that guy? What's the old coach for Ohio State there in Florida? Urban Meyer said he might be the number 1 pick. I think that's crazy talk. Somebody, unless Caleb Williams is out there,
is he using his gold shoes and gold gloves tomorrow?
I don't know.
Like,
you like Ohio State. I like Notre Dame.
And here's one thing. I think if Notre Dame wins this game, and which is won't bother me. I'm just picking them. I'm not gambling either. So, but if Ohio, I think that they could go 2-2, just as much as this game will take out of them, right? So, and Keith thinks they're going to go undefeated and make a championship run.
Yeah, he says if they win these next 5, but they got like USC. I don't know if they're going to run the table. I mean, that's asking a lot, man. Yeah. It's hard to handle. You beat Ohio State up in Notre Dame, you're going to be on like super cloud 9, man. But he's been in the league college football for about 8 years.
Yeah, man,
he might be able to handle it.
He gonna get the
50
Winky
starts
Award.
For Sam Hartman.
Yeah, he gonna get the Winky Award this year for college football.
Okay, Colorado and Oregon. What are your thoughts? Remember last week I told you this. I said I'm worried about Dion doing too much pregame hype, taking too many shots at opposing coaches. Had you noticed he had said nothing about Oregon? We saw the late hit on Travis Hunter. There was a pre-fight. Don't say, did I call that or what?
No, there's also been a lot of issues about some kids' families getting threatened and things like that.
Yeah. The guy that did the late hit on Hunter last week. What's your thoughts on that game?
I think that game shows you that Colorado still needs and lacks depth, right?
Yeah.
But they don't lack fight. And
that was Colorado State's Super Bowl right there, man.
Yeah, and they messed it up. So, now Colorado is on cloud 9.
Yeah.
Prime is giving these kids confidence, and I told Keith, and I think I even mentioned it to you, don't give these boys confidence because then they're gonna run with it, and that's all they need. Plus, they're looking at it as an opportunity to get drafted. They're not looking at it as like who we play next. They're like, I got to play well to get drafted. Because they all of them transferred and they don't qualify for they don't even qualify for any kind of federal funds anymore because they just out of options now. So these kids, they're all playing for NFL ticket, and that's more. Yeah, there's more on the line for them than anybody else. So these kids are gonna fight, and now they're confident. Now they know they can hang. They beat a team like TCU that was in a championship game that was in the playoff last year.
And they're still pretty good this year. I listen to Keith. I don't know what Keith's saying. They that's the only loss they had. Oregon's a different animal, but 21 points. I think they keep it within that. Are you calling for the outright win?
I'm calling for a tie, overtime.
Wow. Oh, that would be crazy if it tied.
Don't be surprised if it happens.
Wow. The over-under's like 71. I think this feels about like a 47-33 Oregon. I picked Colorado plus 21.
I feel
21.5 in some books.
I still feel like Shedeur Sanders is not getting respect, and I feel like
that was a great drive last week, wasn't it?
And I feel like he's probably gonna have his second best game as a Colorado quarterback. I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, they're winning, but you got to give respect where respect's due. And if he's not a Heisman candidate after this week,
well, if they beat Oregon and he has 5 touchdowns and runs in for 2,
just 2,
he's going to shoot up the charts.
So
I just hate it that Travis Hunter's going to be out this week. He's got a lacerated liver, man.
Yeah, but
but he's not everything on the team. It's not really making things happen.
I like the team. This is like a professional team because this team was pretty much.
It really is, yeah.
Built during the offseason. And I think that to me interests me because these are guys that have come from other teams.
Yeah.
And like I said, they're not looking for scholarship money. They're looking to stamp the ticket to the draft. And because they already did most of the work already, and now they just polishing it up. And when you're at that stage, every game to you is the last game.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Like this team is like 90% of those kids, man.
So you're saying this is going to be a tie? This ain't going to end in a win or a loss?
No, I'm saying it's going to be overtime. I mean,
who's going to win, man?
I don't call it win, man. I'm hoping Colorado wins, but
you're probably say Oregon will probably win.
Yeah, if it goes to overtime, if it goes to overtime, Colorado wins. If it doesn't go to overtime, it's Oregon's game.
Okay. Right? Let's move along, man. Yeah. Clemson. Clemson is 2.5-point underdogs, and Florida State is playing great. Clemson was destroyed in week 1 by Duke.
Yeah.
Is this a sucker play? Does Clemson beat Florida State, man?
This is Florida State's game to lose.
Yes.
If they make one too many mistakes, that Clemson's gonna reap havoc on them. And I say that because they're bleeding right now, man. They in the corner, and that's a tough position.
The wounded animal syndrome.
Yeah. So
I'm surprised it's not a bigger spread, man.
Because they're not. Both of these teams struggle to score. That's the problem. It takes them.
Florida State was looking ahead last week. They were playing Boston College and almost got beat in that game. But I think they'll be ready. I think they'll beat Clemson, man. But I don't know. It's like the bookies know something that I don't. The Vegas people. I'm like, why is this like a 3-point game?
Yeah, because it's a conference game and both teams coming back from some tough games, and they got to come up and play this game, and whoever wins this game will probably be in their conference championship, right?
Yeah. So you're picking Florida State too?
Yeah, I'm picking Florida State.
Okay. Man, I hope this one ain't right, but I'll tell you what, man. That freaking Lane Kiffin, his quarterback's playing really well. It's at Alabama.
Did you pick him last week?
No. I didn't pick them last. I tell you what, I think they'll cover that 7-point spread. Jalen Moreau's coming back to Alabama. Does Kiffin get off the schneid against Saban and beat Alabama? They're having problems at their quarterback position in Alabama big time.
Yeah, and I think Saban knows this, and he's going to hang his head on that defense. That defense is young. It's fast, and it needs to come up bigger now more than ever, so that these kids can stay on the team and Saban not go haywire next season and open a transfer portal and get 80 kids. It's for Alabama to lose, man, and I don't think that Saban's gonna leave that defense, You know,
I'm thinking 30-26 Alabama.
Yeah, something close, man. Even something like 27-21, something like that.
27-21. You think Alabama wins at home?
Yeah, I think their defense is gonna like hold them a little bit. As long as they don't break, they'll be all right.
All right. You got anything you need to add, man? We went a little over tonight.
Man, listen, it's
good show.
It's been fun, man. Tiger blood.
What was that he used to say all the time?
Ah, man, he ain't.
I think he did say tiger blood.
Yeah, I don't know what that man ain't never said, bro.
Yeah, he's crazy, man. I'm surprised he's still living. He's wild, man.
He's a wild thing.
Well, Lou Holtz, he thinks Notre Dame's going to win. By the way, Lou Holtz is still alive. Man, Patrick, they put their pants on the same way we do. Remember, he used to do like a lot of Lou Holtz.
It's a different game than when Lou Holtz coached, man. You know,
Lou Holtz is pretty good.
That was yonder year, man.
Yeah, thank you, Chad. Yeah, it's been a great show. Hopefully, me and you'll be back next week.
I'll call you tomorrow, see how these games are going, man.
Yeah. Now, if I don't text you back, that means I'm working late and the game is on record, and I don't want to get all that messed up, Chief. I don't want you telling me anything.
Which game are you recording? The Tennessee game?
No, God, no. Oregon and Colorado, Florida, Alabama game. And if I'm working really late, just to be on the safe side, I'm recording Notre Dame and Ohio State will be played at 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central, which I can't wait, man. That's going to be the game right there.
Yeah, but isn't that Oregon later because it's on the West Coast?
No, Oregon's at 3:30 Eastern. I think it's on ABC, if I'm not mistaken.
That's what I'm saying. It's a later game because
and of course I know I'll probably be working there. Do not text me during the Oregon game.
Did you see that?
Hey, I gotta work. That's keeping the show alive, you know. So
do your thing, bro. Do your thing.
All right, brother. Thanks, man. Thank you, Chad. Thank you, Corey. Thank you, everybody. Until next time, I'll see you Monday. Other words, same time, same place here on Sports.